After sleeping for 14 hours, Henry wakes up and Delilah begins introducing him to his duties. She starts explaining the Osborne firefinder when she spots something concerning out the west window, illegal fireworks being set off near the lake. She instructs Henry to go handle the situation. While heading to deal with the fireworks situation, Henry finds a supply box and discovers a note about another lookout who abandoned their post. During his descent, Henry's rope snaps, but he avoids serious injury. He continues toward Jonesy Lake to investigate. At the lake, Henry discovers abandoned packs, whiskey, and fireworks. The situation becomes awkward when he realizes there are skinny dippers in the lake. When he confronts them about the fireworks, the group responds with hostility and mockery, making the interaction super uncomfortable. Delilah apologizes for being pushy during their first radio conversation, admitting she was drunk. A thunderstorm approaches, leading to some groan-worthy electrical puns between them. Henry discovers a cave in Thunder Canyon that Delilah warns could be dangerous. The situation takes a dark turn when Henry returns to find his tower has been broken into. His typewriter was thrown out the window and his sheets were stolen. Delilah promises to alert the Forest Service and check visitor logs, trying to reassure Henry about his safety. The next morning, Delilah wakes Henry with news that the storm knocked out their phone and radio communications with the outside world. She asks Henry to check the communication wire that runs through his area to look for damage. While hiking to check the wires, Henry and Delilah have a brief conversation about Boulder and someone named Julia. Their chat is interrupted by Delilah's suspicious radio conversation with an unknown person, causing tension when Henry overhears parts of it. Delilah becomes defensive and goes quiet. Henry locates the communication wire and reports it appears to be in good condition. The isolation of their situation becomes apparent as they discuss their limited communication options, with Delilah sarcastically suggesting smoke signals as an alternative. A damaged wire was discovered about 1.5 miles east along a trail up a hill. Beer cans littered the ground, matching those found at a previous campsite. Upon closer inspection, the wire appeared to be deliberately cut rather than damaged by natural causes, raising serious safety concerns about emergency communications being compromised. The situation with the cut wire sparked concerns about emergency response capabilities during potential fires. After discovering the vandalism was likely caused by teenagers, plans were discussed to locate them and potentially scare them as a deterrent, though staying within legal boundaries. At a ravine, an emergency use locked cable system was discovered. A humorous failed attempt was made to gain access by claiming there was a tornado, which was quickly dismissed as meteorologically impossible in the Rockies. An old abandoned backpack belonging to Brian Goodwin was found containing ropes and a disposable camera with unused shots. It was revealed Brian had stayed at Two Forks Lookout with his father Ned 3 summers ago, but they mysteriously left halfway through the season. A peculiar chain-link fence surrounding a large area was discovered, raising questions about its purpose. The explanation suggested it might be related to protecting research areas or preventing hiking accidents, though uncertainty remained about its true function. A thin smoke plume was spotted to the southwest, potentially indicating either a new fire or campfire. The location was determined to be near 5 Mile Creek, prompting investigation while monitoring the smoke size for safety concerns. Discussion turned to Forest Service history, particularly regarding the catastrophic Yellowstone fires. Past policies of preventing forest fires for 60 years shifted to letting wilderness fires burn naturally, leading to massive destruction and subsequent policy changes affecting current Forest Service operations. The area revealed interesting natural features, including a lush section with trees sharing a single root system capable of surviving hundreds of years through fires. A stream was noted as leading toward the previously spotted smoke. Near a waterfall, signs of the teenagers' camp were discovered, including torn cloth and extensive evidence of beer consumption. The investigation continued cautiously to avoid direct confrontation. The teenagers' camp was found severely damaged, with their tent shredded and clothes torn up. A note left behind accused the lookout of attacking them, though they maintained innocence. The scene suggested a violent incident, possibly caused by wildlife like a bear or elk. A casual conversation about a past incident involving taking whiskey at a lake occurs. The speakers discuss some weird occurrences in the woods, suggesting it could be other campers or people having bad experiences with mushrooms. They decide to move past it and focus on having a peaceful summer. A playful conversation about physical appearances takes place. There is joking about being Tom Cruise's twin, followed by observations about clothing preferences. The discussion turns to facial features, including mentions of a thin mustache and a scar. One person reveals they're actually drawing the other person during their chat. The conversation shifts to work responsibilities, with discussion about window repairs and long-term commitment to forest protection. There is some lighthearted complaints about an uncomfortable wooden chair causing splinters, but overall acceptance of the forest protection duties. Serious news emerges about two missing young women, Chelsea Stevens and Lily McLean. Their parents in California haven't heard from them in a week. They were supposed to meet an aunt in Cody. There is tension around being potentially the last person to have seen them. A late-night conversation reveals personal details about Jules, who has early Alzheimer's and is being cared for in Australia. It's an emotional moment of honesty, with supportive response emphasizing the importance of self-care while family handles the situation. Discussion turns to a major forest fire dubbed the Flapjack Fire. Hotshot crews will be called in for suppression, though it's expected to last through summer. The conversation becomes personal, touching on shared connections and creating special moments in the wilderness. Talk about food supplies, and a warning about a problem bear in the area leads to instructions to look for fresh tracks near the lake. There's clear anxiety about bear encounters, expressed through humor and concern. The situation takes a dark turn with the discovery of a clipboard containing transcripts of previous conversations. Things escalate when someone gets physically attacked. There is confusion about Wapiti Station and growing concern about being monitored. The revelation that private conversations have been recorded creates significant tension and fear. A concerning discovery reveals that someone has been secretly monitoring and taking notes about activities and conversations, potentially for several weeks during the summer. This surveillance has been conducted using walkie-talkies and involves mysterious activity behind a fence at Wapiti Meadow. Upon arriving at the location, the area appears highly secured, similar to a restricted facility. Attempts to access the fenced area prove unsuccessful. A suggestion emerges to seek help from firefighters who were conducting controlled burns near a scout camp beyond Ruby River. After making some calls, it becomes clear that no one else has experienced anything unusual. There is hesitation about reporting the situation to authorities due to concerns about sounding unreasonable and potentially jeopardizing employment. The discovery of an abandoned radio raises suspicions about frequency interception. While navigating through the area, various landmarks are encountered, including abandoned snowmobiles at Pork Pond and Camp Arapahoe, which has been around since the 1950s. The camp bridge is found to be out, requiring an alternate route through the ravine. A crucial discovery is made at the camp, a memo revealing the existence of a research site at Wapiti Station run by Dr. Simmons. This leads to the disturbing realization that the mysterious activities might be part of a research study focusing on monitoring and documenting interactions between individuals. The situation becomes more alarming when unexplained sounds are heard over the radio, suggesting unauthorized access to the communication channel. This leads to immediate safety precautions, including instructions to secure the tower and cease radio communication. Following a sleepless night, cryptic instructions are exchanged regarding a flora of the Shoshone poster and directions to Cottonwood Creek, using coded language to avoid surveillance. This reveals the extent of paranoia and caution now necessary in communications. The situation culminates with the procurement of a new, presumably secure radio through elaborate means involving multiple deceptions. The confirmation of tapped radios and illegal surveillance activities creates an urgent need to investigate the research site, despite the risks involved. A tense conversation reveals deep fears and paranoia about being watched and spied on. There are concerns about losing grip on reality, similar to what happened to Julia. The situation feels unprecedented, even after 13 years of experience in the area, including Jackson and Wind River. Reassurance is given that this situation is real and not imagined. The conversation reveals uncertainty and anxiety about the authenticity of their experiences, but confirmation is provided that they are indeed experiencing something concrete and concerning. A major issue surfaces regarding a false report filed about never seeing or talking to missing girls. With tapped radios, there is now likely a transcript of their conversation contradicting the report. This revelation adds another layer of complexity to their already difficult situation. Investigation of a mysterious site reveals serious communications equipment, including a 20-foot transmission tower capable of widespread surveillance. The location is strategically hidden in a valley, making it invisible to lookouts. The soil appears to be specially treated. Discovery of a monitoring desk shows detailed tracking of at least 4 subjects' movements. Maps mark various paths and areas. A log confirms surveillance of multiple individuals, potentially including the Goodwins from the previous summer. Found reports containing personal information about both individuals, including private details about Julia and a person named Javier. The invasion of privacy leads to suggestions of burning down the site, though this idea is quickly dismissed as dangerous and irresponsible. Smoke is spotted near Jonesy Lake, close to the investigation site. Despite earlier discussions about burning it down, denial of responsibility is made. The situation becomes more urgent as the forest fire threatens their safety. A wave receiver detects new frequencies. Meanwhile, tension leads to attempts at coping through alcohol. The receiver leads to discovery of a supply bag with camping gear, clothes, and keys to Shoshone National Forest Cave 452. A concerning situation develops when an unknown person is spotted in the lookout tower. Investigation reveals a tape recording of previous conversations, suggesting surveillance and potential setup regarding the fire. News arrives about someone impersonating Henry and making accusations about the Wapiti Meadow fire to another lookout. The situation becomes more serious, with potential legal consequences looming. Exploration of a cave leads to a dangerous situation when someone tries to trap them inside. Discovery of Brian Goodwin's secret fort reveals his stolen climbing gear and personal belongings, including dark-themed comics and a note about returning equipment to Nebraska. A discussion reveals that Ned was being pushy and manipulative. His behavior was problematic enough that it could have resulted in serious consequences in different circumstances. The conversation hints at an underlying tension between Ned and others. Evidence of Brian's interests and hobbies is discovered, including ham radio schematics that he worked on with Ned. The rushed nature of their departure is noted by the amount of belongings left behind. A close call involving Brian waving at firefighting planes from the tower railing is revealed. Various personal items belonging to Brian are found, including gaming materials for wizards and wyverns, elaborate plans for retrieving a lost pack, and a science fair project about bouncing radio waves off meteor showers. These items paint a picture of an intelligent, creative young person. A tense discussion about investigating a mysterious location occurs, despite potential dangers. News arrives that some previously missing girls have been found safe after taking a joyride on a farmer's tractor in Riverton. A shocking discovery reveals Brian Goodwin's body in what appears to be a climbing accident. The emotional impact of this finding is immediate and devastating, especially for those who knew him. The situation becomes more urgent as two fires merge into one massive blaze with only 2% containment. Discussion turns to how various events might be connected, including surveillance, the Goodwins, and Brian's death. A rope with a tracking collar is found, leading to another tape. The recording reveals Ned Goodwin as the person behind the surveillance, explaining his actions and providing context for his 3-year hideout in the wilderness. Investigation of Ned's hideout reveals his radio base station and surveillance equipment. The truth about Brian's death emerges. It was apparently a climbing accident where Brian failed to properly secure his anchor, though the exact circumstances remain somewhat unclear. The revelation brings mixed emotions. While there's relief that there wasn't a larger conspiracy, the tragic reality of a young life lost due to a father's poor choices weighs heavily. The fire continues to spread, threatening to destroy all evidence. A final assessment of events reveals the complex outcomes. An old lookout's tragic story uncovered, one fire prevented and another inadvertently started. The situation requires an official debrief with many questions to be answered. The two friends make a playful agreement to choose each other's future paths. This leads to one suggesting that the other could come visit them down south, specifically mentioning bowling together as a potential activity. The invitation shows an attempt to maintain their connection despite the upcoming changes. The mood becomes noticeably heavier, with both acknowledging how serious the conversation has gotten. A helicopter arrives, marking the approaching end of their time together. The scene captures the bittersweet nature of their farewell.